and welcome to VOP Business Show. I'm Joy Adesowa Iramoseli. The Debt Management Office DMO has disclosed that Nigeria's total public debt soared to 87.38 trillion naira by the close of the second quarter of 2023. This figure represents a substantial increase in 75.29%, equating to 37.53 trillion naira when juxtaposed with the 49.85 trillion naira reported at the end of March 2023. The DMO, in its recent report, confirmed that this debt encompasses the 22.71 trillion naira ways and means advances extended by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to the federal government. Furthermore, the DMO highlighted the significant addition to the public debt stock, attributing it to the inclusion of the 22.712 trillion naira securitized federal government's way and means advances. The report acknowledges that the expansion of Nigeria's public debt is primarily due to various factors, including the federal government and sub-national entities have notably increased their borrowing activities from local and external sources, and also ongoing reforms initiated by the present administration, along with the potential reforms resulting from the recommendation of the Fiscal Reform and Tax Policies Committee to enhance debt strategy and sustainability. The report provides a detailed breakdown of Nigeria's public debt. Domestic loans stood at 54.13 trillion naira, while external debt was 33.25 trillion naira. Oil prices rose again today and are set for a third weekly gain, but Africa's top producer, Nigeria, continues to face production challenges. Beset by poor management, Nigeria has been unable to meet her OPEC quota for more than 2 years and continues to face a severe FX and revenue crisis, with a debt servicing burden wiping out nearly all of public earnings. The price of oil is surging better than expected, and Chinese economic data and reports of record oil consumption showed. China's industrial output and retail sales grew at a faster than expected rate in August, suggesting that the recovery of the world's second largest economy from the COVID-19 pandemic was stabilizing. Data from the National Bureau released today also showed oil refinery processing rose to a record 64.69 million tons in August, up to 19.6% from a year earlier and equal to 15.23 million barrels per day. Refining throughout surged as Chinese processors kept run rates high to meet summer travel demands and capitalize on strengthening margins for exporting to Asian consumers. The record China refining rates are occurring as output cuts by major producers, Russia and Saudi Arabia, are increasing worries about supply. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has stated that sales of cement dropped by 30% at the peak of naira scarcity earlier this year. The association also said that lack of access to cash during this period led to a 20% drop in sales of consumer goods. MAN stated that in a special focus of its Manufacturing CEO's Confidence Index, it detailed the devastating consequences that the Naira redesign policy had on the manufacturing industry. The report noted that the Central Bank of Nigeria did not need to rush the country's transition to a cashless economy or embark on policy aggressiveness because significant progress has been made in that regard. According to the report, the prolonged crisis almost crippled manufacturing companies, with about 20% and 30% decrease in sales and consumer goods and cement respectively. The federal government has noted that it is currently working on the final details related to the United Arab Emirates visa issue. This followed the recent lifting visa ban on Nigerians by the UAE. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo, who disclosed this at the closing ceremony of the 7th African Aviation Summit in Abuja on Thursday, disclosed that it was crucial for airlines operating between Nigeria and the UAE to have reciprocal rights as per the bilateral air services agreement. He stressed that the importance of balanced and fair treatment between the two countries. Keyamo addressed concerns regarding trapped funds. He assured the efforts were being made to ensure that the funds of foreign airlines were repatriated. The ongoing finance director at the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has been arrested and detained by the Department of State Services, DSS. It is understood that the Secret Service arrested Benjamin Fakunle to understand his role in the recent published 7-year audited account of CBN, which is being alleged to have not followed stipulated accounting and reporting guidelines. Fakunle, who just retired, is one among many officials of the Apex Bank who have been arrested and interrogated, as Jim Obaze, the special investigator appointed by the President Bola Tinubu, continues to investigate the CBN. He was said to have been arrested on Wednesday at his retirement party in Abuja and has since been in detention. Reports say Fakunle is being interrogated on why and how the accounting guidelines, which allegedly deviated from the provisions of the International Financial Reporting Standards (IFRS), were used to prepare the published accounts of the CBN. He would also be required to explain why some alleged 401 million naira was paid for the document as against the rules laid down by the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria. President Tinubu appointed the Jim Obaze-led special panel in late July to investigate the CBN following arrest and prosecution of its former governor, Godwin Emefiele, over alleged financial infractions. Reports say the DSS has since then been questioning the deputy governors of the CBN as well as other senior officials of the bank as part of the ongoing audit. The outlook of Nigeria's employment conditions for the third quarter of this year dropped to the lowest in the nearly 3 years on the back of petrol subsidy removal and naira devaluation. According to the latest aggregate of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, employment conditions for July-September of 2023 deteriorated between the 50 benchmark points to 46.6 points from the 47.8 points in the previous quarter. A further analysis shows that the indicator, which declined for the 4th straight quarter, is the lowest compared to others such as current business conditions and current employment conditions, business conditions for the next 3 months, and production level for the next 3 months. Shola Obadimu, Director General of Nigeria's Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, said manufacturers are reducing their capacity, which means that their personnel will be affected. There are expectations that the index could shrink in September for the first time since the end of a cash crunch that plagued the economy in the first quarter of 2023. He said when manufacturers are faced with such market conditions, what will suffer are their profit margins, stakeholders' value, dividends, and the returns of investments because they are the ones that will abscond the additional cost. The challenging macroeconomic issues impacted the sector's growth rate in Q2 as its growth rate slowed to the lowest in 3 years. Data from the NBS showed that the real GDP growth of the sector stood at 2.2% in Q2, the lowest since Q2 2020. The Q2 growth rate is, however, higher than 2.31% recorded in the previous quarter when the country experienced an unprecedented cash crunch that dampened business activities. And that's it on VOP Business Show today. Many thanks for staying with us. Do well to subscribe And engage with us on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, it is at VOP TV Live. I'm Joy Adesuwa Iramoseli. Good afternoon.